My goodness, this is such an interesting film for you, Rizwan. First of all, you have a beard, so it takes away from your signature look. You also
I
have a
know.
toupee, so that was an interesting switch for you.
But
But
I was
was
also
there?
like, the movie's called Mustache, and you don't want me to have a mustache. I was like, I don't understand. Like that's my signature look, and
Your
I want.
look? Yeah. My goodness, was there something about the premise or about Ilya's plight that really made you want to be a part of this movie?
Yeah, so I met with Imran a couple times to discuss the movie and my involvement in it. And uh there's I always say like the part that I am, the character that I think I am in the movie is Ilyas. Like I grew up as Ilyas, right? Like I was an artsy kid who like my dad was very much like me and my dad butt heads. So in that way, but I think playing the character of the dad, it made me appreciate my dad even more. Does that, you know what I mean? Like I had to, because I had to play the character of my of technically my dad, I could appreciate and sort of understand his struggles a little bit more. And there's a scene, I don't know if you've seen the movie yet, but there's this one scene in the movie that really just kind of, it was sort of my childhood, and I had to sort of it's when it's a small scene. Ilyas is witnessing me compliment another teenager about his recitation of the Quran, and just the way that Ilyas feels in that moment as he's witnessing his dad just think this other kid is so amazing. And I was like, how many moments did I feel that as a kid growing up? And just seeing it from my dad's perspective, and because I had to play the part, I was like, wait, I see it in a different light. Do you know what I mean? So there was a lot of the movie that I got to see through my dad's eyes. And so I think it gave me a deeper appreciation for my father in this movie.
Well, yes, that's such a telling moment as well. But there's also one where I really had a moment of, okay, I know what's going on here, or I see the arc of this because there's a moment where Ilya says to Ayana's character, do you think this kid's dad likes him? And it's at the beginning of the
I
movie.
know.
And you circle back to, or at least I circle back to that, especially with Ilya's relationship with his father, because he really feels like his father doesn't like him, maybe even care about him. Is that what you saw as a through line as well?
It's the juxtaposition, right? Like I can, as I'm saying, I could grow up, I could feel Ilyas's pain because I sort of went through that, like in the sense I was like, oh my God, my dad doesn't think that I'm enough. Do you know what I mean? My dad doesn't think that I'm these things. But then, and it's a heartbreaking moment, right? Like it's a heartbreaking moment to think, oh my God, my dad doesn't love me. Um, but it's also, I hope that you got from the movie the dad's immense love for him, right? Like it's almost the opposite. It's like this, I just want everything for you that I didn't have, right? Like it's that part of it that's heartbreaking because they're just not, they both want the same thing. They both want to show this, but they're coming at it from completely different angles. Yeah, it is. The funny thing is this this movie's a comedy to me, right? Like it's funny and it's like comedy, but there's these heartbreaking moments in it that I just was like, even reading it on the page, like Imran did such a good job. It really was something special.
Well, Ayana, those scenes between you and Ilya are just so special as well. I mean, you see, even in those IMs, you care about him and you want him to maybe realize, hey, I care about you too, but I can't say it because of our culture. And I think you did an exceptional job of really emoting that, even with just the words and maybe the looks you gave. Have you noticed people have been really responding to the affection the two of you seem to have in this film?
So you haven't
I
seen
haven't
it.
seen the movie.
Oh my goodness.
We have
There,
not seen the movie yet. We obviously acted in it, so we don't know what the. I think tomorrow is
Yeah,
going to
it's
be
the
the first
first time we're
time
ever seeing
oh
that
my
we're going to see
goodness.
reactions to it.
Yeah.
But how did you feel like? I mean, she
During
was
those scenes.
13 at the time, so she was
Yeah.
like it's. Go ahead,
I
because you
mean,
said.
right? I mean, it's because, I don't know. It's like because I know I've never had a relationship, obviously, because I'm like young, but it's like I guess it's like when you have a little crush on someone, but it's like you're like you can't say anything because something's gonna happen, right? So I feel like just those little when you're younger and you see those and you're like, oh, like I like that person, and you try to talk to them, but they're not getting it, and so it's like I tried to take that and put that into how I was acting towards Ilyas in those moments.
Yes, and you do try to impart upon him like girls don't talk a certain way. They if they're talking to you, you are probably liked by them.
You're stupid. Like
Which
they
I
don't
think
get
is
it. They don't get it.
what motivates her to send that breakup letter. In the end, it's her maybe her final attempt to tell Ilyas, look, I care about you, but I cannot tell you because of our culture that I
Yeah.
care about you. Um, and the scene where he looks up at you at night and says, I'd like a favor, and you're like, he's like, you're like, what favor? And he's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's where you've had enough. What did they tell you to really emote or at least be expressing during those moments where you're looking down on Ilias and you're you've had enough with trying to help him.
I think Imran told me to be like towards the end of the scene, you're just like sad and you're like you gotta be done with it now and it's just hurts you. So you're like, I can't do this anymore, and you and I was supposed to like stop and just leave. I think that's what they told me to do, right? And so it was like as through those scenes that we have, it was like you're trying to tell him and it gets more obvious, but he's just not getting it until the point that you're like, I can't do this anymore. And so you're like, it's done. It's done now.
It's interesting because there's so many different journeys in the movie, right? Like there's the dad's journeys, there's Ilyas's journey, there's and I keep saying uh Yasmin's journey is such a big part of the movie. It's actually kind of my favorite part of the movie in the sense that you don't see this a lot. There's this innocent, especially with the South Asian Muslim community, we're sort of supposed to be like very like you don't see this kind of like there's like a burgeoning love story, right? Like it's very innocent. It's very, very innocent, but they don't like to use the, it's we don't see these stories in our community. A lot. So when I read the script, that was the part that I was like, oh my god, this would never have happened 20 years ago. You would have never seen this like 13-year-old innocent sort of.
Get up on
I
the
just
dais and start doing this weird performance at a
that's right. Like it's so yeah. It's just I don't know. I really there's so many different levels to this movie that I just yeah, I love it.
Rizwan, what do you hope lingers then with people that do explore or watch Mustache?
um a couple things. First of all, as I said, I think it's a universal story. About this kid's relationship with his dad, with his with his community. So I feel like I hope people are able to, like I did, see it from different points of view. Like if you're able to come into this movie and say, oh my god, I feel for Ilyas because I felt this, and I also feel for the dad, so I don't want them to hate the dad, you know what I mean? Like I want them to be like, oh my god, I feel these things that Hamid is going through, and I can understand. And if people can see that from like from all perspectives, and also because it's a comedy, it's an easier, like I always feel like it's not preachy, so it's very easy to get the message across because it's coming from a humorous place. I also feel like, separate from just the story of the movie, there's so many talented kids in this movie, there's so many talented teenagers in this movie, and I don't want to, in like 5 years from now, another high profile director to be like, I can't sell a movie with Muhammad so and so, which was a very famous quote that happened. I want them to be like, look, there is this movie out here, and you have talented people, and if we sort of uplift them, and if we're able to sort of make sure that they're able to grow, then you will have Muhammad so and so to sell your movie, because they're clearly talented. They're here for you. Let's start giving them a platform and a voice. So
You
yeah,
got one next to you. You got
I
one next
know. I don't know. I don't know if I'm letting her act anymore, but she's not. No, I'm kidding.
Well, both of you have done an exceptional job in this movie, and I do wait eagerly for people to see this, and you've seen
Oh,
it
I want
here
to. Yeah,
shortly.
you've seen
Yeah, I
it,
was
but
like,
we have not
why is
seen the
everybody else
I'll
seeing
movie.
it?
forward you the screener.
Please send it to. They wouldn't. They were like, no, you need to see it.
No, no, this really is such a touching film. Both of you, the arcs you have with it are just exceptional. So thank you so much for
Thank
exploring
you.
with me, and always good to catch up with you, Rizwan. You
Yeah,
do an
thank you so
exceptional
much.
job at comedy. You just have, it's like
Oh,
ingrained in you.
you're so sweet.
So it's a wonderful chance to explore this film. So thank you both for your
Thank
time.
you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.